Hello CraftDee family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY project, we'll be creating some high-end look modern style home decor for your home. Now these pieces all feature a clean modern look and incorporate neutral colors with wood and greenery. Now these can be made with Dollar Tree supplies and other items that are less than $1. Now for your convenience, I provided the complete list of supplies and tools that I use to make these projects in the description box below. I'm so excited to share this tutorial with you, but before we start, I have to say hey, and welcome back to my amazing subscribers and visitors to my channel. If you are a new visitor to my channel today and you love to create fun and easy DIY projects on a budget, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and also click that notification bell so you will be the first to know when a new DIY tutorial is ready to share with you. So now, let's jump right into these projects. Now this project is a bowl planter or stands. Now for this project, we're going to need 2 of these black bowls from the Dollar Tree. Now the first thing we're going to do is we are going to trim out the bowls. So I am going to be using some of this electric tape that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now you can certainly use painter's tape for this, but I like to use electrical tape because it has a little bit of stretch and it conforms to curves a lot better. Now I'm just going to place this around my bowls about a ½ an inch from the top edge, and I want to trim out both of my bowls this way. Now once both bowls are trimmed, we are ready to paint them. So to paint these, I'm going to start off with a layer of this white chalk paint. So I'm going to apply one light coat of that chalk paint around the bottom half of the bowl, making sure that you cover the area where the tape is, and you want to make sure that you give it a good cover, and you want to do this for both bowls. Now you want to let them sit to completely dry to seal that edge in. Now once they are dry to touch, we can go ahead and follow up with the final coat of the chalk paint, and this layer will be applied in a vertical stroke, and we want to make sure we apply it evenly all the way around that bottom edge of the bowl. And here are both of the bowls with that final coat applied, and we want to make sure that they are left to completely dry, and here they are ready to go. So to add our accent, we will be using this Waverly Antique Wax, and we'll be applying this with a chip brush, and you can use a 1 or 2 inch chip brush, whichever one that you like. So we are going to continue with these vertical strokes, and I'm just going to dip it into the wax and start to apply it to the bowl. Now when we do apply this, we want to make sure that our strokes are nice and even and vertical, and as you can see, it creates this beautiful pattern around the bowl. Now we do want to repeat this for our second bowl as well, and here are both bowls nice and covered, and we want to allow these to completely dry. Now once these are dry, go ahead and remove that tape, and you will see that it creates a nice even seam and looks very clean. Now there's a couple of ways you could display these. You can stack these right on top of each other on the bottoms, and you can use just hot glue if you want to remove these in the future, but if you want them permanent, use hot glue in connection with E6000, and that will make the connection more permanent. Now for my project today, I will just be using hot glue because I plan to use these in a different project. Now you can also add some of these candle holders as well if you want your bowls to be stacked. And you would use the same method of hot glue or E6000, and you would place your bowls right on top and then decorate them, and that's all you have to do. And now that you've decided, you can put your bowls on display. And here is the version of the stacked bowl display option, and I love this presentation with the succulents. Now adding some colorful greenery really enhances that natural vibe of this piece. And this beautiful finish with the antique wax really turned out amazing. Now if you decide to add these with the candle holders, here is how they will look. Now these candle holders are the perfect size for the base of the bowl and complements the style really well. Now let me know in the comments which style of these do you like the best. Now this project is a pair of modern style wall art pieces. Now for this project you'll need 2 8x10 canvases from the Dollar Tree. You'll also need some black ribbon from the Dollar Tree, And my Dollar Tree had some belts in stock, and I really love this brown one that they had, so I wanted to use it in a project. So I will be using one of the brown pieces for this art piece, and here is the one I chose. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and unpackage one of your canvases, and we can start to work now. We want to first split it down the center evenly in the middle by marking a line. So I'm taking my ruler and dividing it at the 4-inch mark. Then connecting those lines, I'm going to lightly draw a line down the center with my pencil. Now we are going to be creating a chevron design with our materials, so I'm just going to go, first of all, take my belt, and I want to trim off about 6 or 7 inches off the tongue side of the belt, and I also want to trim the same length off on the buckle side. Now I'm going to set these to the side, and I can save those for another project. So with the remainder of the belt, what we're going to do is we're going to cut pieces into 6 inches, and I'm just going to mark it with a pencil and cut it with a pair of scissors. Now, after we cut this, we're going to have 4 pieces at 6 inches each. And now what I'm going to do with each one of those 4 pieces, I'm going to split it directly down the middle. I'm just going to mark my placement and then cut it with a pair of scissors. And this is what the strips will look like, and we're going to repeat this for all of our strips until we have 8 of those strips cut in half. Go ahead and set 4 of them to the side because we'll use 4 of them for each one of our canvases. So I'm just going to start by laying out my strips in my in my chevron pattern, and I want to go ahead and mark that top chevron placement as a guide, and this will be a guide going down all the way down the canvas. So I'm going to cut the top of that strip into an angle to match that center line that we marked, and once it fits, go ahead and add some hot glue to the back, and you want to press it on the canvas. Now when you do cut it, you do want to make sure that the edge of that strip goes over the edge of the canvas and sticks out a little, because we're going to end up trimming this off in the end. So once that pressed securely in place, we're going to take the other side. We're going to mark that angle line along with our mark down the middle of the canvas. We're going to cut that angle, and we're going to butt that right up into the center of the other side of our chevron. Then add some glue and secure that in place as well. And now what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and trim off those little edges that are sticking out. I'm just going to do this with my X-Acto knife, and with a couple passes that comes right off. So this chevron is the placement for our design. So now we can start adding additional things, and I'm going to be using that black ribbon from the Dollar Tree to add 2 strips of ribbon on each side of the top of that chevron. So I'm just going to place these about 1/2 inch apart and hot glue those in place. Now I'm going to repeat this pattern on that other side of the chevron as well, just making sure that you continue that same angle, and you want to cross over that bottom chevron, that bottom black chevron, and then add the one at the top as well. You do want to make sure your ribbon is longer than the canvas because we will be securing these to the side of the canvas. So we're going to continue adding that ribbon. We're going to add 1 strip of ribbon underneath that belt piece. And it's a good idea to cut the end nice and even on this, since we won't have any room to overlap. Go ahead and cut the ribbon even, burn it with a lighter, and that makes sure the ends are nice and sealed. So when you add that ribbon right over the top, you're securing the raw edges of the first ribbon, but your second ribbon has those sealed edges, so there won't be any fraying. And we're going to put 1 strip of ribbon here, and we're going to have 1 chevron. So we're just going to continue by adding 2 more belt pieces for your chevron, and then adding 2 more ribbon pieces the same way we did for the top of our pattern. So here is our completed pattern, and everything is secured into place. So now what I'm doing is I'm going around the edges and I'm trimming off all of that excess ribbon. You just want to trim it down to where it doesn't curve around the back of the canvas and can lay flat against the side of it. Then to secure all those loose pieces, just add a dab of hot glue to those edges and press it against the side of the canvas. Now once that's all secured, you want to repeat this entire process for a second canvas. And here are the 2 canvases with all of those edges secured on the side. Now we don't want to leave it like that. We're going to go ahead and trim it out to make sure it's nice and clean. So go ahead and add some hot glue along the edge of the canvas and take some of that remaining ribbon, and you want to run it all the way around your canvas, sealing in all of those loose ribbons. And when you get to the end, trim it down. You want to burn those edges of the ribbon to make sure they're sealed. Add some hot glue and press it into place at the bottom. And now just repeat this for your other canvas. And here are your two pieces, all sealed, ready to go, nice and neat. Now we're going to do a little housekeeping and remove those pencil marks, and these will be ready for display. And just like that, you have two canvas art pieces that you can place on display. Now I really love the combination of the brown belt with the black and white trim in these pieces. And the different textures really make this appealing to the eye. Now this was super simple, and you can use any kind of textiles that you have to make it. Now this project is a modern style 2-tier shelf. Now for this project we'll need 2 wood box trays from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use 1 plastic clothing hanger that is black. So I'm going to lay out my cutting mat and grab my hanger, and we're going to start cutting this because this will be the supports for our shelf. So I'm going to line it up nice and even with my tray. I'm grabbing my chalk marker just to make 2 marks even with the bottom of the tray holder. We just want to make sure, I'm using my mat as a guide, and this helps to make sure the bottom is even. Then to cut this, I'm just using a pair of wire clippers, and you do want to make sure you cut this as evenly as possible. So now that your first side is cut, you just want to flip over your hanger, place the other one on top, and you want to trace those lines right onto the second one so both pieces will be the exact same size. And then once those lines are there, go ahead and take your wire clippers and cut those down as well. And now you're going to do any last minute trimming and evenness that you need. Now for these little hooks, go ahead and trim those off with your wire clippers. And if you can't get them flush, if you have a smaller pair or some sandpaper, you can sand those down to make sure they're nice and even. And we have our 2 side supports. So now I'm just going to clean up the edges and set those to the side. So now we're going to work on our boxes. Now these boxes come with the cutout holes, and I wanted to cover those up. So I'm using some of these craft sticks that I got from Lowe's. Now you can use some scraps to cover the holes, but I thought it would be neater to use a full stick and cut it to size. So I'm just going to lay it across the box, and I want to trace the outline of the opening. Now once that's traced on the stick, I'm cutting it right outside of the line, and I'm going to measure and recut to make sure it fits snugly inside that edge. Now once it does fit like you like it, go ahead and cut 4 pieces to cover all 4 of our holes, and then make sure they all fit snugly in place. Now to adhere these, I'm just using some of my wood stick hot glue, and I'm going to just place a stick on that hot glue and secure it over the hole, flip it over just to make sure that hole is completely covered. And now you want to repeat this for the remaining 3 holes of your boxes. And now all 4 of my holes on my boxes are nice and covered. Now go ahead and remove the stickers because we are getting ready to prepare these boxes for stain. So of course I will be using my Jacobian stain by Bim Wax to stain the boxes. So I'm just going to take my rag, and I want to apply that stain all over the inside and outside of my boxes. And here's the stain all over the box, all fully covered. And you notice the glue where the manufacturer put the box together is showing, but that's okay. We'll be having things inside. And now that both boxes are stained, you want to sit them outside to completely dry. So now that our boxes are dry, we can actually start putting together our shelf. So I'm going to be, of course, using my Sure Bonder wood glue, and also my stand. So I'm just going to lay my stands on the side of the box and then apply that Sure Bonder wood stick hot glue along the back edge of the box first. Then I want to place the straight edge of that hanger in place and press it down. Now once that's bonded, you want to apply the front edge and just apply that glue at an angle and apply that piece in place. Now you can wipe off any excess glue and clip it into place to make sure it's nice and secure. So now what we're going to do is add our second box to the top. Now I'm going to be using my grid mat to actually give me some alignment help, and I decided to kind of offset the placement of the top box about an inch behind the first box because it looks like a tiered shelf from the front, and I really love that look. And I just marked it with my chalk marker to know where to place the glue, and I'm applying a generous amount of that Surebonder wood hot glue and placing it right in place, making sure we have that 1 inch offset and it's aligned with our 2 marks, and then just go ahead and clip it into place. Now once that glue dries, you can go ahead and flip over the entire assembly, and then we can assemble and place in our second support. Now again, we want to apply that hot glue the same way. We've made our marks, and we're going to apply that hot glue at the bottom, and also we're going to apply it around the top, and we're going to adhere both trays at the same time. Now after this dries, you are ready to decorate your shelf. Now this is really secure, and I only plan to put light trinkets on it, so there's no need for nails or staples, but it is ready to go. Now here it is. My tiered shelf is on display, and I absolutely love it. Now I have added a few of my favorite Dollar Tree items, and they fit perfectly. Now I love that each shelf is the perfect size and that you can customize it to your liking. And as always, the Dollar Tree wood always takes the stain so very well. You guys had to let me know what kinds of decor would you display on these shelves. Now this project is a decorative wood trimmed box. Now we'll need 1 large box from the Dollar Tree, and we'll need some jumbo craft sticks from Lowe's, and these were 98 cents. So the first thing we're going to do is take our box and remove the lid, and we want to put 1 coat of the Zinsser 123 primer on the box. You could use chalk or acrylic paint if you like. Now while that dries, I'm going to go ahead and take the lid and those craft sticks, and I'm going to cover the entire lid with these sticks. Now I do want to start on the side, and you notice that the side is wider than a craft stick, but that is okay. We have a plan for that. So just measure the side width of the side of the box, trim your stick down to size, and then make sure it fits. Now once it does fit, add a generous amount of that wood glue or hot glue and adhere it to the side, making sure the top is aligned with the edge of that craft stick. Now we want to repeat this all the way around the box lid. Now once the sides are done, we can cover the top. So again, we're going to trace the width size of the lid and then cut it down to size. Now once we determine that there is a good fit, you can go ahead and add some more of that hot glue and place it in place. Now we do want to continue this all the way down, cutting to size and fitting in place, making sure that the sticks are nice and snug together. Now here is the box lid completely covered, and we're going to stain the wood with our Jacobian Minwax stain. Now unfortunately, my camera died right before I started the stain, but what you would do is apply 1 coat of stain to the wood surface, and once it's fully stained, just let it completely dry. And so now that our primer coat on our box is done, we're going to put our final coat, and I am going to be using some white chalk paint. Now, of course, you could use some acrylic paint as well, but I did have some chalk paint left over from a previous project. So I'm just going to put 1 generous coat all over the box. Now, once it's all covered, you want to let it completely dry. Now you also want to put a layer of that chalk paint on that small exposed edge of the box as well. Now this is going on that bottom edge of the box lid, and here it is all covered, and you want to let both pieces completely dry. So now that everything is nice and dry, we can actually assemble the box, and we're going to go ahead and cover up that bottom. So I'm going to be using this piece of a black foam sheet that I had a scrap left over, and I'm going to be adhering it with some hot glue. So just start by adding a generous amount of that hot glue to the bottom of the box. And then press that black foam sheet right on top. Now once it's adhered, grab your cutting mat and your X-Acto knife and trim off all of that excess foam sheet. And here's the bottom all nice and covered. So this box looks great as it is, but I had that leftover buckle, so I'm like, wow, this would look great on the box. And so I'm never wasteful. I love to use things, so I'm going to add this to the front of the box. So I'm just going to cut down the top of that buckle, and I want to make it even with the lid of the box. And then I'm going to trim down the bottom as well, and I'm leaving that just a little long just in case I have to make adjustments. You want to fit it right in the center where your buckle will be centered on the box. So once you're comfortable with the placement on the top, go ahead and add some hot glue to that very top part of the buckle. And once that's added, press it right on the lid portion of the box. Now once that dries, go ahead and give that buckle a tug, that belted tug where you have overlap, and that'll be the portion that you want to cut off and trim. So just take your scissors and cut that portion off. And once everything looks okay with the fit, add some hot glue to that bottom side as well, and then press that firmly to the bottom of the box. And now everything is secure into place, and I'm loving this look. And you can still open the box, you can unbuckle it, or just open it on the back side to place your trinkets in. So now you can place it on a shelf or a table for display. How cute is this little box? Now I just love the combination of this rich brown and white in this piece. And this wood top really gives it a high-end look. And I just love this buckle accent. Now these projects were so fun to make, and it's always hard for me to choose a favorite. So let me know in the comments which project was your favorite today. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. If you like videos like these and you don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed by clicking that subscribe button below, or just click on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen and then click on the bell. It's absolutely free. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.